Greetings, YouTubers. Once again, Dave Soriano out in Western Pennsylvania, USA. And I'm a chemistry professor, soon to be emeritus later this year, but I'll be continuing my research with colleagues and undergraduate students. An update on Chitosan thin films I am creating for testing in certain supercapacitor prototypes. So what we have here to show you is a section. Of course, with many of us, I'm holding the camera. Here is a section of Chitosan thin film. Not necessarily a textbook example, but an example nonetheless. It was created from the standard 1% mass volume in 1% acetic acid. And I stirred that for 24 hours at 20 degrees Celsius. Filter to remove any undissolved chitosan. And then that is dried at 60 to 70 degrees Celsius for 4 to 5 hours. Upon cooling to room temperature, I then place it in a 20% aqueous potassium hydroxide bath, and that's very important to follow this sequence of events. That will remove residual acid, acetic acid, and then after that immersion, I remove it and wash it with distilled water very thoroughly and place it out to dry to constant mass at room temperature. Now, what you do at that point is up to you. Some will treat this film. If you don't do the sequence of events I mentioned, you will remove it after the thin film forms at the acetic acid point. If you don't heat it, it's going to form a jelly in water. The trick is the heating for that interval of time at that temperature, and then cool in place in the caustic bath. If you don't do that, it will become a jelly and you'll throw it away and that's the end of it. That's the trick. Now, this particular section, for demo purposes, can then be treated with dilute sulfuric acid for a set period of time, maybe 24 hours, room temperature. And that will give it some ionic conductivity. But I'm not so much interested in that. I'm interested in using the Chitosan thin film as a separator in certain supercap prototypes that we're developing based upon the use of graphite in various forms as electrode. And activated carbon is also involved, along with deep eutectic solvent electrolytes. We're focused on lithium bromide. Now, I'm interested in treating these films with a porogenic agent, a material that will create pores. Some people use polyethylene glycol, 8,000 molecular weight, or various ranges at a lower level of molar mass. But I will create the films in the acetic acid with lithium bromide salt. Go through the process, and then when it's washed out, it should leave behind, I hope, pores that would allow lithium bromide to pass. So that's what we will study with scanning electron microscope. microscopic imagery, we'll be able to determine these pores and learn more about their diameters. I want lithium bromide to pass through this Chitosan separator. Now, you can also, interestingly enough, after you create the pores, you can place it in a bath of aqueous glutaraldehyde cross-linking agent. And you would have to determine by experiment or from studying the literature the percent of glutaraldehyde you want to use. The commercially available material we have, I believe, is 20 to 25% mass volume in water. Buffer it to pH 6 and 6 to 6.5, because the glutaraldehyde chemically will react with amine groups in the chitosan to form so-called carbon-nitrogen double bond or imino crosslinks. We want to see what that does with the pores and whether we heal the pores, close them to some degree. This is information we need that we can get, fortunately enough, with our new scanning electron microscope. And also we would use FTIR, Fourier transform infrared, to examine the thin films. So we'll keep you posted on what we're doing with this. But here's something practical. Using a caliper from Walmart, which you can see there, this has a thin film thickness of about 0.2 millimeter. Now, it tends to curl up. It's actually very tough chitosan film if you've not worked with it. Pretty good compared to some other films I've created over the years. What I do to smooth it out is use a hair curler. This one's from Revlon, from a local Goodwill. It works great. And what you do is, of course, plug it in if you're not in the hairstyling business. It works great. It has a little heating block. So I plug that in, and the chitosan film I place in there, once it's fully heated up, 4 or 5 second bursts. It will flatten it out beautifully. And you can get it better than this. In fact, this one I had just wet with water about 15 minutes ago. And I wanted to see the drying and the straightening in one shot. But that is pretty good, because when you put a deep eutectic solvent electrolyte on your electrode or graphite felt, whatever you're using, this will form fit, and you'll press it down into place. So we're interested in the thickness of the film and the diameter of pores that are created. Over here, you can see I have a sample being prepared of the chitosan thin film. This is a little thicker than what I normally do. It's been going 24 hours. It's probably going to need another day or two. I don't have it in a fume hood right now. I have it out because I want to see how it does under conditions that many home researchers would use. I like the idea of inclusivity, and there are some very, very talented people that work at home doing this type of research. They enjoy it. My chitosan, well, I picked that up. You can get it delivered to your home. Let me get up here. I'm in my office. And you can buy bulk supplement. And that's your chitosan. I get that from Amazon, so you can get a hold of that. And you're in business. And 100 grams goes a long way if you're making 1 gram batches. Now, I have taken a sample of this chitosan, made this way. I cut a section out, and I've contacted it with my deep eutectic solvents with lithium bromide. And it'll be interesting to do the studies on the capacitance and voltages I can reach. And that's another story. Thank you for watching, and I hope you will consider getting involved. And you may be interested in the applications of the Chitosan thin film in other areas such as food preparation, preservation, all different things, medical applications. I like the Chitosan, and it's biodegradable. So thank you for watching. We'll keep you posted as we progress. Bye for now.